watch TV, it does take a while to get the hang out because, like, obviously there's so many buttons.
Okay, I'm back now. I had to figure out exactly what was going on with the Elgato. Apparently, I just had to, restart OBS, unplug it, plug it back in, the whole 9 yards. I don't know, something. I guess OBS maybe wasn't reading it properly. I guess that was the gist. But we have sound. Yeah, so real quick, I'll just, go over a few things. We have 2 sound commands from the Divas Champion, 2-time Divas Champion, WWE Divas Champion, that is, Paige. So, yeah. You enter botch in chat, or if you enter gift in chat, GIFT, chat, you'll hear Paige. And then obviously, I talked about my book. My book that is going to be focusing on my life through the outlaw characters with a little bit of fictional elements. You guys will get to know the outlaws and a little bit more of their backstory. Obviously, I have Sky's the Limit and Behind the Mask, 2 website exclusive series that you guys will be able to watch to kind of explore the backstory of Sky and Luna individually, but also those stories will be further explained in the book. So basically, it's a backstory of a backstory, basically, for those outlaws. So, like, even before Sky's the Limit and even before the Dawning Behind the Mask, you guys will, like, be guided even further back in the book, and you guys will explore some of my real life experiences through these characters. And the story is being told from Brian Outlaw's perspective, as just like all the other things that we've done on the channel and on my YouTube channel as well. I want to quickly thank all of you guys that have been checking out the WWE 2K21 wishlist video. I believe that video is at 400 views right now. and your comments have been awesome on that video, and I'm glad to kind of interact with some of you and get your thoughts on what you think will make the WWE 2K series better. It's always nice seeing that, and always nice interacting with all of you. I will be sure to keep you guys updated on the book and when that releases. I'm working on chapter 3 right now. It's going to be about a 15 to 20 chapter book. And let's just say I put more work into that than I have, my college papers. I have more fun writing that because I already know the story. I already know the story of the Outlaws because I created it. But getting to explain it in more depth and more detail than just multiple videos, because having to make the videos and make the content that I do to have to explain everything is difficult, and having to do that over the course of videos is a lot more difficult than just writing a book and fully explaining it. And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun to to actually, once it gets released and once it gets made and everything, to actually read it myself and have you guys read it. I'll work out publishing and all that crap when the time comes here. We have our first match with the RCW World Champion Brian Outlaw, as Kevin Owens is out there with him, as he's going to take on Ricochet here. And we have entrances back on, because what I'm hearing is that matches with multiple persons in them kind of crashes. So like 4-person matches, 6-person matches. But matches with one-on-one and tag team matches are okay, so and having entrances in here definitely is better than not having them in. Ricochet makes his way to the ring here, and as Brian Outlaw's opponent has already been confirmed for the RCW Rebirth pay-per-view, that being Chris Danger, of course. But Ricochet could easily change that and make it a triple threat match by beating the RCW World Champion here. I actually told my mother, on the phone, that I wanted her to pick up The Rise of Skywalker, the new Star Wars movie, because I haven't seen it yet. Like to see it, so came out yesterday, and I wanted to pick it up, and I was scared because I was like, when am I gonna be able to, go shopping again and do all that other stuff again? I've been ordering stuff on Amazon. I just ordered a hard drive for my Xbox. It's an 8 terabyte hard drive, because I wanted to put more games on there and replay some of them, or whatever. I've also been figuring out how to play some mobile games, how to stream some mobile games, because there's a really good WWE mobile game that I really like playing that I would love to stream for you guys. Have something a little bit different than 2K20. That's something that is wrestling related. Ricochet, though, with a drop kick, but Brian Outlaw gets right back up. Oh, but a DDT and a kip up there from Ricochet. Brian gets back up right after that from that. I'm looking for a suplex here is Kevin Owens. Loving what he sees here. Now, in case you're new, Kevin Owens and Brian Outlaw had made a pact. Kevin Owens had returned to RCW, and under the condition that Brian Outlaw would give him a title opportunity if one of them were to get a title. And Brian Outlaw obviously is the RCW World Champion right now. So with that, with his title defense looming, you would have to assume that, you know, at the next pay-per-view or at the RCW episode after RCW Rebirth, that maybe Kevin Owens would, you know, get a title shot. Maybe Brian Outlaw would offer him a title shot afterwards, as Ricochet reverses that suplex there, turns Brian around, Irish whip into the corner now. We also have some emotes coming from the incredible Dark Arrow. He is an incredible emote artist and, you know, just graphic artist for the Avenger Friends. He's hard at work making my emotes, and those emotes are going to be the Outlaws. Brian Outlaw is going to be an emote. Jason Outlaw is going to be an emote. Luna Outlaw and Sky Outlaw are going to be emotes, so I'm excited to have those once those are ready. Obviously, we have new screens as well, as you guys have seen them. I'm also having a new screen made for the podcast, for the Angle podcast, a podcast that I do with Chaotic and Young Sin, and talk about wrestling. Also have a thing being made for them, and also a logo as well for podcast too, like a professional logo podcast. Okay, I'm getting a little calendar notification. I hate getting those things, I tell you. Ooh, and a flatliner there. What's up, Glitch Aces? How's it going? Good to have you in here, buddy. Kick out there. Brian Outlaw. Ricochet lifts up an Outlaw here, and yeah, so I'm really excited to be working on the book and to have that out for you guys. And it's gonna be a new adventure, you know. It's gonna be my first time writing a book. You know, obviously everything that you see here in RCW, I take the time to write the storylines. You know, I already have most of season 7, which is the next season, written already. So I just gotta finish up a couple of the final touches. Brian Outlaw does a little bit of taunting, but the recoil there from Ricochet and a kick out at 1. Oh, and Ricochet with that elbow drop off at the top rope there. Going up top again. I wonder what he's going for again. Possibly another elbow drop. Ricochet definitely holding his own against the RCW World Champion here. I've seen a lot of people do the AI versus AI, and the only issue with that is that the AI is pretty bad in this game to the point where a lot of countouts can happen. I've seen that, where a lot of matches end in countouts as Brian Outlaw goes for the guilty verdict here. Covered up Ricochet. Kick out at 2. And I like to I like to play my matches compared to what I usually see in other people's streams, because I like to have my storylines go the way I want them to. Sometimes I'll lose on accident, sometimes I'll lose on purpose, you know. And I think it's fun because no, this is on Xbox. Well, it is on. I believe 2K20 can be bought on PC, but this is on Xbox. Yeah, the graphics are beautiful in this game. I love the way my custom wrestlers look. Some of the models, though, some of the character models, like of the actual wrestlers, some of them I don't like, but I know Roman Reigns' model looks great. Kevin Owens' model looks great. Well, you know, Right now, I'm doing my universe right now. Usually I just do. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Right now I usually do just my universe. How I usually get viewers to, you know, quote unquote join is they have a wrestler made, their own wrestler made, and you know, I put them in the universe. The only thing that I ask though is for full creative control, and meaning that, you know, I book your wrestler, you know, the way I want to. I would never book your wrestler as a jobber like WWE would. I would never do that. But I've had, the only reason why I say that is because in the past, I've had made wrestlers for other, for the viewers. I've made wrestlers for, you know, the viewers and stuff, and they've, and basically what has happened as a result of that is I had one viewer that had got mad because her wrestler wasn't getting booked because I didn't have storylines for them. And the thing is, I don't like to be like WWE where if I have nothing for a wrestler, they're not going to be on TV or they're not going to be used, and, you know, like, I think having a wrestler that doesn't get used is just useless. You know, and as a fan, I'm mad at that because, you know, there's a lot of talent out there that should be used, not. And I don't want any wrestler that I have just being used as, like, filler matches or something. You know, so as Brian Outlaw gets the jailbreak DDT here, looking for the win here over Ricochet. And he gets the win over Ricochet here. Biz, what's up, my guy? What's going on? Good to have you in here, man. Yeah, so aces, you know, that's just kind of how I roll. You know, because I want my viewers, wrestlers, and everyone to be a part of the universe here. And you know what's kind of weird though is the viewer that had left, her wrestler ended up having one of the longest title runs, but she saw none of it. She saw none of it. Simply because she stopped coming because her wrestler wasn't booked, and that was because I didn't have a good storyline for her wrestler, and then, she ended up going on the longest title run, but she saw none of it, simply because, well, she stopped coming. And obviously, there's no requirement to be here. There's no requirement to be here at all. I'm just saying that when, you know, I'm making your wrestler and you know, I'm building them up rather than just having some crappy storyline and then having them do nothing, you know. Because then people will be complaining like, oh, you know, my wrestler isn't in a title run, or, oh, my wrestler should be this, or my wrestler should be that. But trust me, you know, when you're in the hands of my universe, you know, I've made some really badass storylines over. I've been doing this show for 1.5 years, almost 2 years now. We're in the 6th season of it, and you know, I don't intend on stopping. I'm holding up pretty good, Biz. I'm holding up pretty good. I know that you've been working from home and, you know, it's kind of been weird for all of us. But we're managing. As Paige makes her return to RCW action here against Rhea Ripley. Now, if you enter the command botch in chat, my name plus an exclamation mark in chat, you will get a little bit of an announcement from Paige, as well as if you enter the command gift in chat, as well, you'll get an announcement from Paige as in chat, as she said my name twice in her live stream on Twitch now.
Gifted subs, thank you.
So there's Paige thanking you. If you ever gift somebody a sub, I will ask you to enter that command in chat. If you ever decide to do that. Not required, of course. She is possibly my favorite wrestler of all time. We experience a crash here. Give me a second while I fix that. I will fix that in a second. I knew that was going to happen, one way or the other. I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it because it's always bound to. Now, if we turn entrances off, that doesn't happen. That's a reason why we had entrances off for the longest time. But I've experienced this before, so don't worry about it. I've experienced it before. It's all part of the thing. But, you know, it kind of sucks because the whole purpose of wrestling is entrances. So it just sucks that, you know, we'll have to roll with the punches and not have entrances on, but that's okay. If the game functions, that's all I care about. You know, I could care less of not having any. I mean, it sucks, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Quickly, sure I have all the entrances off. Okay, there we go. It doesn't matter what overall you have them under. Like, I would say probably a cap of 90 to 94. Like, don't make them overpowered, basically. You know, I have unlimited reversals on, so that doesn't matter, but, you know, make them realistic. Don't make them like a overpowered 100 overall, can't. I always like to have my wrestlers have at least like one weakness, one or two weaknesses that the opponents can take advantage of. Like maybe they're not good at submissions, or maybe they're not good at this, or maybe they're not good at that. I would say probably 87 or the 90. I would say. Whoops. Sorry. Press the wrong button on my stream deck there. Alright, we should have fixed everything now, so everything is fine. I've experienced that kind of thing before. I turned all entrances off, so they should be all off by now. Definitely check out my buddy Young Sin. He is one of the co-hosts of my podcast, along with my buddy Chaotic. They're all on Mixer. They mostly stream on Mixer, but they're also on Twitch as well, so if you want to give them a follow in both, that would be awesome. They're a good group of guys. Yeah, if you just upload them to the community creations, I'll make sure to download them. Oh, fall away slam from Paige. I don't think I've ever seen her hit that in real life. Watching her. I would have to say, though, having all the discussions that I've had, you know, and being a fellow watcher of Paige's stream, I definitely enjoyed chatting with her know, about her matches and stuff like that. About, you know, video games that she has no idea what. Like, she's scared to play WWE 2K by herself. I offered to play with her. I offered to play with her. I was like, I'll play with you, it's fine. You know, we'll play mixed tag match now that we have mixed. Because I always dreamed of, like, one of my scenarios as a wrestler, if I could ever be a wrestler, to, you know, a scenario, you know, with Paige or a storyline with Paige. If you go all the way back to RCW Season 2, there was a storyline where I had Brian Outlaw be with Paige for a while. Great storyline. Great storyline. Didn't have to fake any of it. Didn't have to fake any of that stuff, you know. Because you know, Brian Outlaw, the character isn't too far from, you know, myself. So, you know, he loves his women in wrestling just as much as I do. Favorite female is Alexa Bliss. I can understand why. I can understand why. She's one of my favorites too as well. I had the pleasure of seeing her wrestle live a bunch of times. I also had Bailey at a live show. She waved to me, gave me a kiss, which was awesome. Before she turned heel, of course, and through everyone. Which, honestly, that's exactly what I want to happen to me. Is like one of these days, if I ever go again to SmackDown, is for her to tell me to F off or something like that. I always enjoy the fan interaction between wrestlers. You know, because that's what it's all for, you know? So that's why it's kind of weird to me that we are in a moment in time right now where there is no fans. And so it's kind of weird to me as Paige hits the rampage here on Rhea Ripley. Hooks the leg right in the middle of the ring. Referee taking a little bit of time here. And Rhea Ripley with a kick out of 2. And I'm really excited, even though that WrestleMania is going to take place without fans, I'm still excited to see Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. She's become one of my favorite wrestlers over time. But I absolutely adore Paige. I loved her, watching her time as a wrestler, watching what she did for the wrestling industry as a whole. I would say that her and AJ Lee both were women that were trailblazers in the women's revolution. Yeah, they should do that. Yeah. I'm also excited to see Edge versus Randy Orton. I mean, I love Edge. He was one of my favorite wrestlers to watch, especially when he turned heel. And oh, he was a great heel. I loved Paige as heel more than I did as face, but she played both well. I don't know, maybe it's just because she looked hot when she was mad, so, especially when she wore the cut off version of her "This Is My House" shirt. She turned it into like a little crop top thing, with the jacket on. I miss the old days. I miss that. Granted, she's still the same Paige. She hasn't changed. Happy she hasn't. All the crap that over the years. Bad boyfriend, bad decision. Yeah, I know who you are. It's the same username. Same username. Welcome, Gaming Ninja. Appreciate you being in here. On a 4 here is. Here Ripley gets back in. Paige looking for the page turner there. Connected on that. That's actually my buddy who I went to high school with. he's a pro wrestler now, which is crazy. Being like 17 years old and already being a pro wrestler is nuts. And his finisher is the Page turn. Kind of cool. You know, I miss Page hitting that move, but how did I get into wrestling? I actually watched Paige's run. It was in 2011 when she signed with WWE. I was into it a little bit when CM Punk was in it, and the pipe bomb promo that he cut in 2011 on Raw, where, you know, he said that he'd like to think that the company would be better after Vince McMahon's dead. Anybody who makes fun of Vince is awesome, because I can't stand him, which is why in almost every promo that I cut, as Brian Outlaw for my career universe modes and all that, I make fun of him at least once or twice or 3 times or 4 times or whatever. I can't stand the guy. I've read Justin Roberts' book. I've also read Jim Ross's book, and they actually, and hearing stories from people who have worked there, including Luke Harper after making his move to AEW, and hearing what Vince has done to careers, you know, it just makes me hate the dude more and more and more, because, you know, if it weren't for Vince, then probably CM Punk would still be wrestling today, honestly. This Page wins here, but I got into it for the female aspect, because I always wanted more for women in wrestling. I always thought that, especially with Paige and her being a wrestler and her not being like some supermodel or whatever, even though she does look like one. Like, good God. I still can't believe the Lord himself made that, but, you know. But, I got real into it in probably 2014, 2015 when Paige was on Total Divas, and my mother was like, "You want to watch Total Divas together?" And my mother was into wrestling when she was younger. She was into Stone Cold. She's actually born on 3/16, March 16th, so it kind of fits. Oops. This Ariel here is coming to spoil the celebration of Paige here. Trying to get in the mind games of Luna here. She locks in the armbar and Paige is tapping there. But yeah, my mother got me into wrestling. I've had the pleasure of meeting, you know, guys like Mick Foley, Jerry the King Lawler, Devon Dudley from the Dudley Boys. You know, guys that I consider, you know, my heroes. I idolize these guys because those were guys that, you know, I wanted to be. And, you know, in wrestling, I guess the number one thing that I liked about it is it didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter, you know, if you came from a poor family or if you know, came from, you know, a middle-class family or whatever background you had. When you walked through that curtain and you know, your entrance music hit, all you are to the audience is an entertainer. You know, it didn't matter if you had like a speech impediment or you know, anything. And I actually know a wrestler who has the same physical disability as me, and he wrestles, and he is impressive. And I tell him all the time that he is impressive, but he doesn't believe me. He's like, "Don't lie to your friends and tell them that I'm like some really good wrestler." And I said, "You are." I said, "For the fact that you're not able to use one side of your body, and you know, there's people who are able-bodied, which are people without disabilities, that can use every part of their body. It's insane, just, you know, what these guys are able to do." And, you know, like, through the Outlaw characters, and obviously with my book, and, you know, everything else that I've been able to do, with that, I've been able to, with this show and everything, I've been able to create a story that I've wanted to create. And, wrestling has given me legit everything I could ever want in my entire life. I'm meeting Jim Ross this summer with Tony Schiavone, who are two commentators for AEW, All Elite Wrestling, this new wrestling company. I've always been a fan of JR. I've always been a fan of him. I got an opportunity to meet Mick Foley, who all of you know as the man who fell 15 feet from the cell, King of the Ring, 1999, or 1998, sorry. June, I think it was 28th, 1998, when he fell off, got thrown off. And, I met him, and I got to listen to his story. He came to a comedy club near me, and I read his books. I read, Have a Nice Day and his books before. But he told me that he had a son that was on the autistic spectrum, on the autism spectrum. And, he was talking about him on stage, and he said, none of you are, different. We're all different in our own ways, but we're all human beings, and he's possibly the nicest guy you'll ever meet in your entire life. He is the sweetest man I've ever met in my entire life. He is one of the guys that I respect because he was ballsy, and he didn't care what happened to him when he was doing his thing, wrestling. He just cared about the pop that he would get from the crowd. And I asked him about the night that he had decided to get thrown off of the cell and hit the table, and that famous call that we all know that JR made, and I said, did you want to die? What the hell is wrong with you? I was like, well, you created one of the most memorable moments in wrestling history, but seriously, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? Every time you got in the ring, you were you had a death wish or something. It's almost like you wanted to die. He told me, he's like, man, I never cared what happened to me. He goes, putting a smile on the crowd's face and making them forget about what, crappy moments were happening in their life is what I live for. And, the greatest thing he ever told me was, I told him, I said, I want to be like you. It's that, yeah, don't stop. Yeah, exactly. And I told him I wanted to be in the wrestling industry, as a writer or in any way that I could. And, I asked him if he had any advice for me, and, he said, keep your passion. He goes, don't let anybody, even corporate, take that away from you. He goes, you got passion, hang on to it. He's fantastic. He's definitely a guy that I'll cherish for years. I was in tears when I met him. Couldn't believe that I was meeting one of the guys that I looked up to as a kid. And even though most of his matches took place before I was born, I've seen him in TNA back in the early 2000s. And he was, he was the same guy that he was before. Max Mercury here. Two tag team champions going up against each other here. Look at these quick strikes here from AJ Styles. Max Mercury gets lifted up here from AJ Styles and Ushigoroshi on Max Mercury here. Gonna go for a drop kick perhaps, but no. Gonna lifted hand there. I'm not sure how much he got of that, but nonetheless, it worked. And AJ Styles looking for the Styles Clash, though. He's caught Max into a Styles Clash. 1, 2, and Max kicked out at 2.5. Mad Max. There's a reason why they call him that, and definitely showing AJ Styles that here tonight. AJ going for the armbar now, looking to submit Max. Max able to get out of it. Also, I own a merch store. If you enter the Command store, you will get access to all of my merch. I forgot to state that earlier on in the stream. But I have a merch store, and a percentage of that money goes to me, and it helps me make the stream better, but it also allows you to get some really kick-ass merch. Please, if you ever buy the merch, don't hesitate to take a screenshot, share it in the Discord. You can enter the Command Discord to get access to my Discord panel, or go down in my Twitch panels there and just click the Discord panel, and just click that, and it'll tell you to join it. There you'll be up to date on everything. All my social medias as well are in the panels, including my Instagram, my Twitter. I post a lot on my Instagram and Twitter, so definitely check those out. Not a requirement, of course, because I know some of you don't like social media, but thought I'd throw it out there. Spent a lot of time working real hard on the merch and on everything that I do for you guys in this show. This takes a long time to put together. Some people just see it as, you know, putting together matches and commentating the matches, but a lot goes into it. A lot of storylines, a lot of behind-the-scenes work that you guys don't always see goes on in this. Max Mercury looks to take down his former tag team partner here. Looking for the Max driver here, dropping AJ Styles on his head. 1, 2, 3, and Max Mercury gets the win here. He works up his way up to power rankings here after he lost to Randy Orton, our RCW Carnage champion. I actually got broken for wrestling as well. I'm 16 and I'm a wrestler in a friends group. I taught myself wrestling because we don't have a lot of schools to wrestle where I live, but I didn't protect myself with bump and those kinds of things. So I had multiple broken bones, but I tried to pull through. Well, that's awful that you've had to get broken bones, but like I said, you know, not everyone can do this business. But I admire you for doing it and essentially not even going to wrestling school for it, kind of like doing a thing with your buddies. And Max Mercury attacking his partner after the match. I am not sure why, but nonetheless he is now going for another Max driver, but this time it's on the outside as he attacks AJ. I don't know what's gotten into Max here. Whatever it is, it ain't good. Move on to our next match. Now, in case you miss any of this stream, or you want to go back and watch any of the episodes, you can easily do that by going to my YouTube channel, which is here, or you can go to my website, which is here. Either way, all of the episodes are there from season 1 all the way to season 6. What happens usually after the stream is the stream gets archived by Twitch, of course, gets downloaded, gets edited, and ends up getting put on YouTube and the website afterwards. But on my website, you can check out my website exclusive series, Luna Outlaw, The Dawning Behind the Mask, as well as Sky Outlaw, Sky's the Limit, and some of my blogs on wrestling where I talk anything wrestling, whether it's pay-per-views, a particular wrestling superstar, or what have you. You can also check out our roster page with exclusive pictures of our roster and a little bit of bios on our created superstars. You can also check out our gallery, which includes pictures of our superstars and quotes by our RCW roster. And as well as the Angle Podcast. All of the episodes of the Angle Podcast featuring myself, Chaotic, and Young Sin are on the website, in which we spend an hour or 2 hours, give or take, talking about different topics of wrestling. We usually come up with different topics, and you guys can come here as I stream it on my Twitch. He streams it on his side of things, and we just talk about wrestling. You guys can interact and ask us questions. We have a segment towards the end of the podcast where we have viewer questions on what we talked about, or just opinions on what's going on in wrestling right now. Usually that's how everything works. We definitely really enjoy it. It's exciting to have somebody else as part of the podcast. And yeah, as we have Kenny Omega versus Buddy Murphy, and the Elite Young Bucks are there, as well as the House of Pain are there, or the disciples of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins as well is out there watching one of his disciples, Buddy Murphy, in the ring. And obviously Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega have had their issues. We saw a match, I believe it was at RCW Destiny, in which I believe, if my calculations are correct, or if my math is correct here, that Seth Rollins, or Kenny Omega, got the victory there. And they will be having a rematch at the RCW Rebirth pay-per-view, which I'm excited to see there. And I'm pretty sure you guys are excited to see that. Now, usually what I do is I have the episodes play out the way that they are supposed to. And then after that, I usually have a pay-per-view. 20 episodes a season is how everything goes. That's how everything goes. I usually have 2 pay-per-views a season. Every 10th episode being a pay-per-view. So we've already had one of our pay-per-views. And then how it usually works is I take a break within the first half to write storylines for the second half of the season. And then once the season is over, the season finale, which is another pay-per-view, then I start writing storylines for the next half of the season. Obviously, season 7 has been written already. So, well, most of it has. So, with that in mind, it shouldn't take me too long after season 6 has concluded to start up season 7 again. So, obviously I'll have to make the pay-per-views and the pay-per-view arenas, because those are different. Ace is up. Alright, I'll check them out after the show here. I'll get them on the roster here. Also, if Aces, if you have any information on him, like a backstory on him or anything like that, feel free to send it in my Discord. Give you the command here. The only reason why I ask that is because since he is a KAW superstar, I usually like to have the KAW superstars be on the website. So I usually like to have like a screenshot of them, which I usually do myself. I usually get a screenshot of the superstar and then have like a little bit of a bio. So you can go ahead and do that in the Discord if you so choose, in the RCW section. A little bit of a Seth Walker there to Buddy Murphy. An insult there to Seth, as Seth is watching on here and definitely not liking what he's seeing here. For the V-trigger knee here on Buddy Murphy. 1, 2, and Buddy Murphy got the shoulder up at 2.5. Oh, and the knees there. Right to the midsection of Buddy Murphy. Cover again. Okay, man, get yourself some food. Why not? Uh-oh. I think Kenny was going for one-winged angel there. Buddy Murphy looking for a power bomb, but no. Move Buddy Murphy around here looking for one-winged angel right in the middle of the ring here. 1, 2, and Buddy Murphy kicked out at 2. I thought Kenny almost had him. Kenny almost had him there, and Seth Rollins just anxiously watching with his disciples. I don't know how I feel about the Monday Night Messiah gimmick, but I mean, at this point with Seth Rollins and his long hair, he does kind of look like Jesus. So. But I simply don't understand why the AOP would team up with him. And why Buddy Murphy would team up with him either. Because I honestly, in my humble opinion, as much as I love Seth Rollins, and as much as I love Buddy Murphy, they don't need to be together. Like Buddy Murphy, you know, watching him in NXT and seeing what he's able to do, like, I think, you know, and based on the matches that he's had with Aleister Black, Kenny Omega gets the victory here over Buddy Murphy. Based on the matches that he's had with Aleister Black and what he's been able to do there, honestly, I think he's better as a singles competitor. Better just simply by himself. But I guess Vince had other ideas. As we have a blockbuster main event here with Tommaso Ciampa and Keith Lee. Great tea here. I love this pure leaf. Like coffee and iced tea are like two like biggest weak. I can go without soda, without iced tea. Hope all of you are staying safe, staying healthy for this. Got a lot of crazy things on in the world right now. But on the bright side, there's Netflix, there's Hulu, and there's Twitch, and other ways to entertain yourself now. Not all bad. At least, bright side for me is I don't have to deal with my crappy school internet. Because I would go, when I would go to, you know, my college to be doing work and going to class, I would usually, you know, I would have a break in between classes. Usually do work in between. And the school's internet never really worked. They actually, I think it was like March 25th, something like that. They closed down because they were leaving it open for those who didn't have internet access. But what's ironic is internet never really worked there anyway. So basically, I never understood why they kept it open. It closed it. And all the other campus centers closed the main campus. Closed their other campuses, other towns. And it's not all bad either because I can still do, my homework and not have to wake up early all the time and go for class. I kind of just feel bad because now, like, a lot of my professors hurt everything online form. Not the easiest thing. Well, I think that a lot harder to just basically ditch everything that you were gonna do in class, especially for because I had a lot of teachers that didn't even use Blackboard. It's a commonly used system, grading, everything for students to check their grades and teachers post grades and stuff like that. Some teachers didn't use it. Quite frankly, it never. It doesn't really work. It's not the most reliable system. A couple weeks ago, I had trouble getting on it. It kept kicking me off, and I got mad. Like, I gotta do work, and know that I can't just sit at home and not my college work. I'm kind of like, okay, I gotta do this work, and it's not letting me. Ciampa with a couple of knees to the back here of Keith Lee. I actually wouldn't mind seeing these two in a match together. That or Ciampa and Finn. I hear tonight that all the matches that were going to take place at TakeOver Tampa, TakeOver wherever it was going to happen tonight. So Ciampa look get rid of Keith Lee there by putting him through the announce table, but Keith Lee throwing. Reversal there. Back of the hamstring there. Looking to pull the arm right out of its socket as the referee. Ciampa lets that go, realizing that Keith Lee was gonna fight out of that one. And now Ciampa looking to hook him into the fairy tale ending. It connects. Keith Lee gets out of two. This match right now has been all Ciampa. Just when I say that, Keith Lee with a reversal though. Ooh, and the shoulder tackle right off the apron. Now Keith Lee. I definitely all-time favorite. I apologize for that. Now Elgato got yanked out on me. They went for the cover there. Have an issue after issue. Crazy. First, when I tried to first stream this, my Elgato wasn't getting any sound. Odd. I had that issue before where my Elgato wasn't picking up any sound. Is the sweat from Keith Lee here. Both men getting tired out. Ciampa again looks for the fairy tale ending. 1, 2, and Keith Lee again with the kick out. Keith Lee refusing. Go down. But now Keith Lee. Keith Lee trying to fight back with Ciampa with the reversal into a pin combination. 1, 2, 3. And Ciampa got him. Ciampa had gotten him. Gotta move. Ciampa gets the victory here. I gotta remember to turn the music back on. Oh wait, I did. As Ciampa gets the victory and Keith Lee is not too happy. And that is our show, guys. You guys for joining me. It's good to be back after a while of not doing this. Definitely weird. It's definitely weird not doing this for like a week or two, or not making any content. But in case you missed any of this, it obviously, like I said before, it goes on my YouTube afterward. I have to edit it, obviously. So I apologize for the Elgato getting yanked out there, but it gets edited and then it gets posted on my YouTube, and then it gets posted onto the website. Well, so there's 3 places to watch it. One in the VODs, for I believe a maximum of like 20 or 30 days or something like that. And then the other is my YouTube, which it stays there forever. You can watch it there, or you can watch it on the website. I like to have it 3 different ways, because the more places you have your content, the more likely it is to get out there to other people. Again, I'll pop up some. So those both are my website and the and my YouTube. On my YouTube, I have other content. So you can check out the My Career universe modes of Luna, Brian Outlaw journey through their story in WWE. I also have, I just have other videos on there, other wrestling content on there, along with first couple episodes of the podcast, and plenty more wrestling content to come on there. Mostly, because that's mostly what I do. Is my wrestling content. Any other content that I think is entertaining and or beneficial happens to do content well or anything like that. One of the things that you'll find on there is a tutorial. 2 tutorials. I did them because I wanted to give people a little bit of an idea of what I do to make the content that I make. So I made a tutorial on how to cut promos in WWE 2K, and what I mean by that is how to actually cut promos, like record yourself cutting a promo, and then putting it into a video, making all the edits that you need to make, and making your promos sound authentic and sound really awesome. Most of that video is just personal preference. It's a lot of the stuff that I put in there. It uses your video editing software, or whatever video editing software you have, whether it's something like Camtasia, which is what I use, or if it's something basic like iMovie. Is a great software. Even some of the free softwares that come with your Windows or your computers, you don't necessarily need to spend an arm and a leg to get good editing software. So the softwares that I use in that video are Audacity and Camtasia. Audacity is a free digital audio workstation where I record stuff. And then I use obviously the website Thesaurus, where you can find antonyms and synonyms. And I kind of go through, why saying something that sounds like death, why saying a word that means the same as death over using the word death. Like kind of keeping it less generic and more authentic character. Trying to create the wrestling. Definitely check those out. I also have another tutorial on there, which is a tutorial on how I do cutscenes, how I utilize cutscenes and create a video for my content, and how you yourself can use those. Again, that kind of goes over my editing process and what I do. I don't go over everything because if I did, videos would have been longer. And again, a lot of that stuff is personal preference. I just wanted to show my community, you guys, how I make it. Who took the loss, Chaotic? Keith Lee took the loss in that main event there with Ciampa. Keith Lee took the loss. What happened was, I believe Keith Lee tried to go for some type of power bomb, and Ciampa reversed it, went into the pin combination, 1, 2, 3, over. That's what happened. But like I said, if you missed any of this, definitely check out my YouTube channel again. It has pretty much anything that can satisfy wrestling. Love telling the stories that I tell. Obviously, writing my book. More stories are to be told, I guess, or in for detail. Excited. I'll keep you guys updated on it. as far as new content. Obviously, we got some new wrestling games coming out, like Jakara Action Arcade Wrestling for consoles, which is gonna be awesome. I have it for PC, and it's an amazing game. And I'm excited to get it on console. We also have Virtual Basement. They're a developer. They're the same guys that made Ark, that survival game with dinosaurs in it. And they're making a wrestling game with actual wrestlers, indie wrestlers. That's kind of supposed to be Here Comes the Pain with No Mercy kind of mixed into it. So a little bit less simulation and a little bit more fun and arcadey is what they're kind of going for, and that should be fun. That game is supposed to come out with, I believe, the PS5, the new PlayStation, and the new Xbox. So I'm excited for that because I'm gonna be getting a new. So I'm excited for that, and excited for further wrestling. So checking. Oh yeah, I can definitely use that. I can definitely use that screenshot. Ace Angel is okay. I can definitely. The only reason why I say that is because, like, there's some people who want a specific screenshot of their character or something like that, so that's why I offered it up to you to decide whether or not what screenshot you would want to use. Otherwise, I would have just downloaded him, taken a screenshot of whatever, and kind of just or edited it in Affinity Photo, which is video or photo editing software, kind of like Photoshop that I use to put it in there. But I'll definitely get on that, have that be there. So anyways, let's check who's streaming right now, see who we can get off to. Yes. Now Spud, he is one of my good friends. He is a really phenomenal guy. He's really amazing. So we are going to be nice to him and raid often. Because he's I remember. Oh.